Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome everybody. This is Jay Way's very first me studying for the bar, and I couldn't think of anybody more fitting that I want to pick for this guy right here on the screen. He is a wonderful human being, a great mentor. I've grown a lot of respect for him. Extremely positive, extremely committed. Uh, I just can't not say enough nice attributes about this man. I want to welcome you all to the one, the only Mr. Big Ronnie Snowton. What's going on, man?
Everything's well, Jay. I tell you what, I'm just loving to be here.
Oh man, and I appreciate you helping me do this, bring some attention to the site and just as they say, common folks who do
Yes.
extraordinary things. And I think you're definitely somebody who fits that MO. So
Oh,
uh,
definitely.
we'll get started here. And it always starts from the beginning. What made you start powerlifting? What was it?
Well, well, Jay, I tell you, it was a funny story. I met a young man out there at work at Campbell Soup, Texas, there, and I was fighting. And I would do probably anywhere from 500 to 1,000 push-ups a day, sit-ups and things like that. But boxers never lift weights. That wasn't part of the program that I was in. I was a two state Golden Glove. I won the state Golden Gloves of Texas, one state Golden Gloves of Oklahoma. And anyway, this young man come in. Me and him weighed the same, but me being 6 foot and then him being 5'3". He weighed 160 pounds. He reminded me of a pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at this guy and he said, "Hey, come lift weights with me." I told him, "Well, I don't lift weights." He says, "No, come." And I remember him, we got up to about 80-pound dumbbells, and I almost ate one of them. My arms was trembling so bad. And you know what? He was making fun of me. And I told him, I said, "Kenneth, I want you to know, one of these days," I said, "you give me 3 years, and whatever you max out on bench, I'm going to do it for reps." Well, we were going to a GNC, and they had what they call a steroid replacement pack. A bunch of vitamins in there made you piss yellow one day, green the next day, purple the next day. You never knew what you was gonna get out of this pack.
Uh-huh.
So we were spending about $35 every probably 15 days on this, and along with creatine and proteins, we had this Mega Mass 9,000 calorie shakes that you could take and it give you the crap more to give you anything because your body just couldn't ingest all of that protein.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I tell you what, make a long story short, after about 3 years, his 300-pound max out on the bench. Oh, I could do it for reps. I did it for 10, 15 reps. And he swore to God I had get, you got on steroids for real. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I finally got the mechanics of what I was doing. And I said, it just went from there to just catapult.
So and then we back up now. Tell everybody how old you are.
How old am I now?
Yes,
61. 61 now.
61 years old. So and now what year was this? You're spending $35 every 15 days. That's a
You
lot
know
of
what? Yes, sir. That was in the early 80s.
really.
Yeah, yeah, early 80s.
Okay, so here you were a boxer, tough guy, knocking people down, and
Yes,
then you
sir.
cross a pit bull. And you said, "Whoa, this guy's strong. I gotta catch up. I gotta do something." And so
That's exactly right.
in 3 years, you were repping 300 pounds for 10 reps.
Yes, sir.
And everybody remembers their first powerlifting competition. When was yours, and what was that?
First powerlifting meet, 1987 AAU. I guess it was the Texas Classic,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in, and you know what? It was funny because everybody was there. And I kind of was like a dare. Do you believe that you can beat these powerlifters lifting weights? I told him, well, you know what? I was trying to go in bodybuilding, and I had met this promoter over there in oh godly Dallas, Texas, by the name of Prince Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Prince Harrison told me that he said, in order for you to go forward in bodybuilding, he said your neck, your calves, and your arms have to be within an inch and a half of each other. And so, I'm walking around there at that time there with probably 18 and a half inch arms, and neck was somewhere close. Calves about 16, 16 and a half. And so, I got into one of the bodybuilding contests, the Metroplex Classic, where I met Ronnie Coleman. And, he says, I'll always remember you. He said, me and you have the same name. He said, different mothers and daddies. He said, but the same name. His name is Ronnie Dean Coleman. I'm Ronnie Dean Snowton. So, he signed his piece of paper there, and gave me his picture, and he was going to be the next Mr. Olympia. And he lived that dream on to be Mr. Olympia.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
getting back,
time's over. Yeah.
yes, but getting back to the story there, old Prince was making fun of me because he was telling me that he says, you could do well. He said, you could really do well in bodybuilding. He said, but you're going to have to get the gear. And I was telling Prince, I said, I spend about $300 a month in protein supplements and stuff. And I said, man, am I not spending enough? And I said, what is this gear? And then he told me what the gear was. He says, you got to get on them steroids. I told him, no, man, I'm afraid of needles. I give blood, but I can't actually watch the needle go in my arm, or I'll jump and I'll run off. So, but he tried to get me on that stuff there, and I told him, oh no, I'm never gonna do that.
I guess you're not
Then
covered up. Now you're not one of those guys scared of needles that's covered in tattoos, are you?
no, sir, I don't have a tattoo on my body. That's the
Okay.
main reason I don't have any.
So
Yes,
87, it wasn't a lot of knowledge as far as the dangers of steroids or anything like that. But it wasn't so much the dangers of it, it was just needles that kept you
it
from
was.
getting.
That's it. It was the fright, the thought of somebody sticking me with a needle. I tell you what I felt. I always said, if you bought a gun, hey, you know what? I wouldn't probably run from the gun, but you bring a needle, you can run me off all day long. I can't
And,
stand needles.
and how did that competition turned out? You,
Well, you know what? I went in that first competition. I think I turned in. I was in the 220-pound class. I turned in about 430 that day and won it. And people was thinking, boy, you strong. I said, then lo and behold, probably 3 or 4 contests later, I ended up setting what they call the world record in the 220s at 505 pounds raw.
mm, no shirts,
No shirts, no nothing. Just
just
like you
raw.
come in. Yes, sir.
Wow. And I take it you've been hooked on it ever since because you just recently had a competition.
Yes, sir. You know what? I can't get it out of my blood. After 7 surgeries, I'm still I'm still trying to fight that fight. I'm always saying if you can get big and stronger.
So, what has kept you in all these years? What do you think has been the thing that's kept you?
You know what? I think it's to see your body actually go through these different metamorphoses that, to push something and for people to say, wow, I didn't think a human body could do that. I actually went to one young man's house and, he said he had never seen anybody bench 500. He had about 400 pounds at his home gym.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, I tell you what, just load it all up. He loaded it up, and I did it for 10 reps. And he said, man, he said, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. He said, what are you? And so I think it's those things of pushing that envelope to where people say, you know what, you just ain't nobody should be able to do this. And, outside of what they see, they Superman athletes, the
Right.
ones that you see NFL and what you see these guys, strongman contests, but people, just everyday person going to work, hitting that 9 to 5 and then coming in and actually being able to lift what you see your super bodies do.
So, and you mentioned the 500 pounds you did at the time. Let's talk numbers. Where are you at? Squat, bench, deadlift. What's been the greatest you've done on the big three lift?
Okay, on the big three lifts, I did 505 on the bench, 700 on the squat, 600 on the deadlift.
Hmm.
Yep. I had a little over 1,800 total. And I said, I thought I was doing really, really well because at the time you had people like Ed Conan. Let's see who else was real big in that day. Um, oh, godly, there's another guy that, oh, I'm trying to think of this black guy's name that he was really, really strong also. But, they thought these guys was giants. And for you to come in and be matched up with them, me and Ed, we had plenty of conversations about him turning in a 520 pound. bench, but he had a shirt on. And then he got busted for steroids. And then I come in with no shirt and I turn over 500-pound bench. And you know what? I'm natural and he wasn't.
And that was one of the questions I'm going to ask you. You know, I know, but you let everybody know you have been natural your entire life.
Yes, sir. I've never taken a drug in my life. I tell you what, that's why, it's kind of hard for people when they come up and they say, man, you got to be on some. Actually, at the contest this week, I had 3 people come up and says, man, the scale has to be wrong. No way you can be this big and be under 300 pounds. No way. We need to go in there and get the man to go and hey, let us see you get on the scale for us to take a look at your weight.
And you've been drug tested just several times.
Oh, golly, I got drug tested when I set the world record in the over 40s at 460 with a torn rotator. Got drug tested when I went over 55 at 470. Hey, I get tested so much. I told the guys he wasting his little old bitty piss cup because
Yeah.
I told him I don't do those things.
When this was one of the reasons I got into it, it was the whole notion that you have to be taking steroids in order to compete on an elite level. That's what a lot of people think, and that's where they're at. Friend of mine told me to take the steroid accusations as a form of flattery. When you're getting drug tested all this time, were you flattered by like, I'm so strong, I got to be on something, or were you kind of annoyed, like, come on, man, get off of me?
You know what? I tell you what, Jay. I think the most flattering thing that ever happened to me. We were out in Florida. I was working as the process engineer out there with Boston Scientific Medical, and I didn't know who The Rock or Batista was. I didn't know these WWE stars, and all of a sudden we're in this gym. I hear all of these young kids, they screaming and yelling, they running over there to see these guys. All of a sudden, I had 4 or 5 on the bench, and the guy Batista asked me. He says, "You need a spot?" I told him, "No, I don't need a spot with this." I said, "I got this." He looks over at the Rock. He
Dave
says, "Let's
Batista,
take a look." Yeah,
Dave
yeah, the
Batista,
Batista, one
that
with,
animal,
with traps. Yeah,
the
ones
guy
that got the
that's
traps to
doing
go
the
up through it.
part in the galaxies, yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
guy.
Yes, sir.
Uh huh.
That's and anyway, and he looks over at the Rock. He said, "Well, let's take a look at this." And I knocked out 5 reps, and they looked at me and they said, "Man, what are you on?" And that to me was the most flattering thing because I know these guys was on something. Because you can look at veins that's what 4 or 5 inches thick running down their arms all up through there. And
Right.
I'm thinking, no, yeah, the guys, I know I'm not on anything. And they said, "Wow, so where you from and what you do?" They asked me all these different questions. I said, "I'm just one of these with guys that just like to live." I said, and I made this thing. I said, in Texas, I said, all the women, I said, they do 315 for reps. And
Now,
they got,
were they real big stars at the time?
yes, sir, they were big stars. They were getting ready for a WWE event down there in Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Wow. So here you are, Texas man. You got Dwayne Johnson and Dave Batista watching you press 405.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So all the tests and the accusations, meet after meet after meet, didn't bother you any?
You know what? At first it got annoying because you know what I said? They're trying to catch me. And I told the guys he was wasting his time testing me. I said, because I don't do those kind of things. And after that, it became, you know what? I must really be something in order for these guys to just come in and, hey, you got to go test. You got to go test.
So what were you so for you to be accused of, you know, you're so strong, you're accused of drug usage. How were your workouts different from most other people to where you were able to do those type of lifts?
You know what I think is where most people, when it begins to get hard and it hurts, and you know what, sometimes I take the reps all the way down to one. And then after I get to where I can only do one, I will take a weight like 225, and people say I do combine numbers. I may do 35, 40 reps with 225 after I've been working out all day.
So you're going to failure.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You don't have a number. It's like CT says till you can't do no more.
That's exactly right. You know what? Even CT, I was out there doing his Festival of Strengths, and he was one of the guys that says, you know what? They just don't see people like us anymore. And and I thought, for CT to say that, and he was there with his son Samson, and we all lifting together, man. I tell you what, I said that was great.
So we talked about you got WWE stars, you got legendary CT, you met Ronnie Coleman, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
um, any fame, you know, powerlifters, we don't typically get rich off this, but any fame, any, fame you got, or big paydays you got from ever competing over the years?
You know what? When I first started, I had GNC when I was down in Arizona. I was in Arizona, and I got GNC to sponsor a couple of meets for me. But that's been about it. They said they generally don't do this, but you know what? We're gonna give you a shirt. We're gonna give you product, And I said, hey, that went a long way.
Now, with the internet, social media, job as a creator, digital creator, influencer, things like that. There are people coming up and they're getting a lot of fame, a lot of notoriety. They're getting ads and they're getting all kinds of stuff. Coming from an older crowd, do you feel some kind of way about that? Like some of that ought to be coming to me, or you know, or do you even think about
Well, you know what? After my last year, my induction into the Powerlifting Hall of Fame, I went to my granddaughter's powerlifting meet, and I was telling the guys who I was, and of course, they kind of shunned me off, and I'm thinking, oh man, wait a minute. I would have loved for someone to have came to a meet when I first got started that have went from just somebody to one of the top powerlifters in the world to come up and say, "Hey, I'm at a meet, man, and you know what? It'd be nice to meet you." And I just felt, I felt a little awkward that he didn't even want to introduce me to the up and coming kids that were there. I don't know why, but hey, he failed to. I even asked that, you know what, man, I'll help judge the contest. He said, no, we got enough judges. And I said, oh, okay.
it? Sound like a hater of me.
Oh, well, sometimes you run into those people that, what, because they were no good at it, they feel like, what, you may be this. And I know he even went so far that he pulled me up on the internet, to see who I was and see if my claim to fame was there. And oh, is that you there? Oh, yes, that's me over there smiling with those two trophies. I said, that was after one of the world's meets. I just had won. He said, oh, my goodness. Okay.
you know, One thing about you, I can call you anytime. I got someone mind, something I want to talk about, and you're gonna always go to the book. You're gonna always
Yes,
go
sir.
to the Bible, the Word of God, anything you say. Um, how has the Word of God been helpful and influential for you to remain empowered with
Well,
everything?
it's an humbling experience because it actually, what I get out of it, Jay, it actually gave me I guess a support stand to talk to young people. You can talk to them about, lifting weights and getting big, but then you ask them, hey man, what do you think about this? And you put the religion on them and just to see where they at. Oh yeah, I believe or I don't believe. Now let me ask you a question. If you were to die today, and if you didn't believe in Jesus Christ, and I say, hey, where do you think you'd go? And and you'd be surprised at the answer. Some believe in a heaven and hell. Some don't. They just feel like, oh, I don't know. I just go to the ground. No, and then you have to explain to them, no, you're not going to go to the ground. You know what? You're going to either go here or you're going to go there. It's according to how you live your life. And if you don't give your life to Him, then hey, unfortunately, it's the other place. And then you give them these scriptures and you let them read it for themselves. And, it's just kind of an eye opening to them because, like I said, some mom and dad never said anything to them about a heaven and hell. And then some just don't believe.
So it's been an opportunity for you to be a testimony to a lot of people.
Yes, sir. It gives you a platform to speak Jesus and say, you know what, man, I prayed to Jesus for Samson's strength. And people said, Samson, who is Samson? I said, hey, he's the strongest man that ever lived. I said, just hey, look him up.
Mhm.
I said, he's a warrior for God. Look him up. And I said, that's the strength I prayed for.
You ever wanted to quit? Ever did I try this?
Jay,
And
you know what it
we
was?
talked a couple of days ago, and you was kind of like, man, I feel like I'm getting old, and I don't know, and
Jay, you know what, Jay, I say after 7 surgeries, you know what, you just say, hey, look here. The Bible says bodily exercise profit little. I said, okay, God, maybe I've gotten this little that I was supposed to get out of this because I said it's an unusual thing to see a person go in and lift twice their body weight.
yeah,
I was at a powerlifting meet just Saturday. There was a young man that put 903 pounds on the bench.
I
And
saw
I
that.
said, yeah, and I said, you know what? That is a lot of weight to be holding in your arms and saying, and we had like 7, 8 spotters out there. And I said, his foot slipped on that lift. And I said, if all those spotters hadn't been around there, that's instant death. No way.
Yeah,
It'll crush him.
it's like having a car fall on you.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, jack slip and boom, there it is. Um,
That's exactly right.
yeah, this I don't know. I mean, for me, it's kind of I don't know. I'm looking to get 600 pounds, and I feel like I've done enough. I've left a legacy to my children. Uh, and when I hear you talking, I'm like 61. You still go to the gym and you're doing 400 pounds, all the time.
Yes.
I'm like, well, maybe I
Yep.
need to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, I have my one of my granddaughters, and well, actually, both of my granddaughters are actually into it. Now, the grandsons didn't want to live, but I have granddaughters that, they're trying to emulate my success in powerlifting. And I have one that she's a 4-star athlete. She's good in softball, basketball, track, and volleyball.
Right.
And what I was telling her, weightlifting is going to help you in any of those sports that you do.
Mhm.
You're going to be, if you use your legs and stuff, you're going to be that much faster. You're going to be that much stronger. You're going to be able to do all these things that those that don't lift weights won't be able to do.
Yeah, and if
So,
you're football or wrestling, powerlifting should be your off-season sport to stay busy. Definitely.
yes, sir. Definitely. Yes.
Um, Now I had a conversation with your wife, who graciously interrupted one of our conversations. I appreciate it. Very, very
Yes.
sweet, very, very sweet woman. Very, very loving. Um,
Yes.
how is she in supporting you?
You know what? She's been telling me lately, she says, hey, Ronnie, you know what? There's a time and season for everything, she says. And you know what? You've had a great run. You've had a great run. You've accomplished 3 world championships. You've did 16 nationals. She said, "Hey, you're the current champion, 2 different weight classes as we speak." She said, "Don't you think it's about time to hang them up and coach?" And you know what? I told her that, and then here, I said, "Yeah, it's probably about time me to hang it up." But I got one more thing I want to accomplish. I want to go back down to 242,
Mhm.
and I want to have my name on all the national records and state records for Texas. I want my name on 242, 275, 308s. When I can say I'm the champion, all 3 of those different weight classes, then I'm gonna say I had done it.
And where do you weigh right now?
Right now, I come in every day about 265.
All right, 20 pounds, 23 pounds, and
Yes, sir.
major deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, what's the message you got to the young people out there that you want to leave them with?
You know what? The message I would say to the youngsters, be positive, but be true to yourself. Don't cheat because there would be no use of you going out there putting a drug in your system to get it because you know what? The quicker you get it, you get off the drug, you're going to lose it the same way. I tell everybody, they've been looking at me for years and they says, you know, man, are you going to ever lose size? As long as I stay in the gym, no, I'll still be big. And people who saying, you got to be on something. And so I told him, you just got to be true to yourself. believe in God. You know what? Let God sit in there and lead you and guide you in everything that you do. But still, be true to yourself. And you know what? The the number one competitor in your life is you. You
Right.
know, it's not what that other person can do. It's what you can do. What Be the best of you. And that's what I would tell the youngsters. Be the best that they can be.
Man, uh, I want to thank you for being a listener for me, being an advisor. I want to thank you for coming on and doing this thing for me. The very first ever men studying for the bar. Big Ronnie Snowton. Hey, you just don't know how much I appreciate this, man, and love you dearly, and hopefully you and your family are all the best.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jay. We love you. And man, I tell you what, we'll see you soon because I'm coming to Oklahoma City soon.
Okay, I'm gonna bump into you now.
Yes, sir. Definitely. All
We
right.
all gotta get together and have dinner or something.
Yes, sir. We will do.
All right, thank you, Big Ron. You have a good one.
You too, sir. Bye bye.